All right, everyone, welcome back into another Prize Picks and Underdog video. Give me touch on the top prop bets that we have this Sunday in the NFL. And I phrased it that way because I already did a Saturday video, so be on the lookout for that. But let's go ahead and get into the game-by-game breakdown. We may or may not have all the prop bets for each game. You know, we'll see. Let's start out with Houston versus Tennessee. A very low-scoring game, 37 for the over and under, a 3-point spread. We don't know if C.J. Stroud is going to play in this game. He's currently trying to pass the concussion protocol. We do know that they are very banged up. Nico Collins, questionable. Tank Dell, out. It's not looking good for you. Noah Brown might be asked to step up into a receiver number 1 role, which really probably not the best role for him. Like, you can shut him down then. Looking at the Titans, they might be able to sneak out a win here. Another win and keep their playoff hopes alive. I think they're going to be able to establish the run with Derrick Henry. Maybe that was a little bit of a turning point for Will Levis, who I wouldn't say he looked good, but he was able to grind out a way. He did his best Baker Mayfield impersonation, really. But all in all, I can't fault the guy. Tajay Spears also looked good as well. It's definitely an interesting game. We'll see if we have any good prop bets for this game. So starting out with the Tennessee Titans, we're not getting that many props just in general right now, guys. I am recording this on Thursday evening. I'm going to have a busy weekend, so all in all, want to get this content out to you guys. But looking at it right now, I do think that there's some merit to like Tajay Spears having a good game, whether that be in the receiving or rush department. Like, the Texans have been a team that, sure, you're going to pass the football against mostly, but the Titans need to be able to establish a run. Like, Derrick Henry getting 17 carries in that game was not a fluke. They need to get him those carries. They just need to ground and pound that defense. Now, a lot of those carries were carries in which I will say Miami probably knew that the rush was coming, and so he was kind of stopped. But finally, guys, I've been hyping up Tajay Spears really this whole season, it seems like, but definitely over the past like month and a half, I've been saying it's coming. It's coming. Doesn't matter if Derrick Henry's there, it's going to come. And finally, he had a good game. Again, I feel like they need to get him the ball in the passing game. My worry is that this game stays way too close and they're not playing from behind. Thus, he isn't getting that receiving game production. But I will say, his receiving yards at 15.5 is an intriguing over, and I think that that's really the best bet that we're getting for the Titans. I'm not sure we're going to get any prop bets for Houston just yet, given all the injury concerns, and we are not. I will say that if Nico Collins is indeed out, we're probably going to see some of John Mechie, which I think, you know, we'd probably get some low lines on him. The Titans are a team that you want to throw the football against. I think he could be someone that's serviceable. I don't know what his prop line would be. I would say for both him and Xavier Hutchinson, if we're getting their receiving yards under like 20, I don't even want to say that. Yeah, 20, I would say. I'd be fine betting the over, especially if Noah Brown's going to be limited, because I see those two having to get snaps again like they did last week. Hutchinson played 73, Mechie played 50, and that'd be something I think would have to continue again. And those were both two players that were kind of getting some hype for them out of the preseason. Let's go ahead and move on into the next game. We got the Chiefs versus the Patriots. Really a game that should be ugly. I mean, the Chiefs have not been playing well. The Patriots have been playing well on one side of the football. It's going to be about an 8-point spread, very low game total, 37. Looking at the injury report, the biggest takeaway that we need is what's going to happen with Isaiah Pacheco. Is he going to be in or out? It is going to seem like another day in which we have a lot of Zeke. Stevenson is questionable. He's more on the doubtful side. Demario Douglas, again, a big mover for them. If he is out again with a concussion, that's not good. He's been practicing limited, but he hasn't passed anything, and that's going on for a week and a half now. He needs to be active for this offense. He really does. I know that they had a good game last game, but a little bit of it was fluky. You know, if it wasn't Hunter Henry's birthday, I don't know if that offense does as well as it. Looking at the Patriots, nothing here is going to excite me literally at all. I will say I do like Demario Douglas to get over 4.5 receptions if he is active, but again, we don't know if he's going to be active or not. And I say that because the targets have really been there for him. And again, like they probably will try to commit to the run with Zeke again, but all in all, they're going to have to give him the football. You look at what Juju was able to do last week, he had a pretty good game. I think if you put Douglas in there, there's an even better game out there. Yeah, so from there, we need to see the news on Stevenson not practicing as of Thursday, so my expectation is that we're going to see a lot of Zeke again. Zeke, as expected, last week, you know, basically played all the snaps. Okay, that was expected. Juju was forced to play all the snaps with Parker being out, and that's really why he had a good game, okay? But looking at Zeke, again, like I was super shocked at the receiving prop that we got from him. It was like 15.5 receiving yards. And that was one of the bets this year that I really felt was, I didn't say lock because I never like to use that word, but it was super low. And I was really shocked at that. And so right now, I'm not sure we're going to get any of those props for Zeke. We are 20 again for him. And this is on Underdog. PrizePicks isn't giving us the full sample of their sports books just yet, but I would still say that this is extremely low. Like, his production in the receiving game has been there, okay? You look at basically 2 games in which he's gotten a workload, 5 targets, 40 yards, 8 targets, 72 yards. Like, that is going to be what happens again. And sure, it's Zeke. And I know it leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. And I know that's probably why this line is there. But all in all, that seems to be extremely low. Again, like it's just kind of crazy. So yeah, to me, those are the two that I really like the most. It's going to be Demario Douglas for over 4.5 receptions. Probably a better bet on FanDuel or DraftKings. And then also Zeke for over receiving yard. Now, I do want to call out PrizePicks is doing this kind of demon and goblins thing. I think it's kind of weird. Again, guys, like most of the time, this is not going to be a good bet for you. And if you're just kind of wondering if you're to place two of these bets on PrizePicks, see what that line would be on like FanDuel or DraftKings on a different sports book, because the payout's going to be better. It just is. Most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, at least how it's set up right now. I really wish that they would give us these goblin or demon props though with receptions, because in this situation with Demario Douglas, where I really like the over at 4.5 receptions, sure, give me a better payout with, because it's stupid mathematically to place a bet that has a 51.7% chance for the under to hit. Give me the demon extra payout with that. That's what I want. But maybe we'll get that with Zeke here, where the under is being favored. So moving on into the Chiefs, we do need to get an update from Isaiah Pacheco. Did not practice on Thursday. So again, my kind of expectation is that he could sit. And I want to say that we're expecting him to sit, but all in all, that's kind of what it's starting to seem like. So definitely some concern there. And if he does sit, let's prepare for that. Who had the most snaps with him out? It was CH getting about 48, and then Jerick McKinnon getting about 45. Like, that is not too shocking. I do think it's noteworthy that Rice finally got a very high snap, like a receiver #1 snaps, and that should be something that continues. And so the Patriots have been good defensively. There is some concern there. Rice at 5 receptions does seem to be slightly too low. Now, I would say all in all, that probably has a good chance to be a push. But if we're getting a receiver for the Chiefs that is playing 80% of the snaps and is going to get 10, 9, 10 targets, and I know it's the Patriots, I get that, but all in all, that line seems to be just too low. He's had a few design plays go his way in the passing game. So if we can get 2 cheap receptions and just need a couple downfield, I do like that. Kadarius Toney, I don't know what to expect from him. Probably play his best game of the season up until that, mental mistake. Tough to say what's going to happen. I would say if he's playing 40% of the snaps again, which I don't know if he will, but they do like to give him the football, and that'd be too low. But I don't think I want to touch that because of the weird mishaps that were occurring with him. And then, we're not getting any rushing props just yet. I would say McKinnon, as we probably all know, McKinnon will be the receiving down back. Got 3 targets in that game, 18 receiving yards. Not that much. Like, I would have thought he would have done more there. And then CH, actually, I think CH's been pretty darn impressive. I kind of feel like they need to give him the football more. Maybe we see that happen. Maybe they saw it on film again. He's having a good year in a limited sample, but maybe they see that maybe gets 55% of the snaps instead. You kind of would expect them to be playing with the lead against New England as well. All right, so moving on into the next game here, we got the Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. It's about a 9-point spread in favor, 9.5 points spread in favor of the Dolphins winning. Again, at 32 for the over and under, so kind of crazy there. Obviously, the game total and really the whole game is going to depend on Tyreek Hill. It's weird, like last week definitely was a case for him to really win the MVP, I feel like, because we saw kind of how bad, I don't want to say bad, but how much the offense was hurt when he was off the field and how much of an instant spark he was when he was on the field. Looking at the Jets, we are going to see that Breece Hall is currently listed as questionable. He's expected to play, limited in practice. I think we're expecting him to play. Jason Brownlee sitting is actually something I think is slightly noteworthy. They're trying to force him some more snaps, especially in favor of Allen Lazard. And so if he's out, they are almost going to be forced to give Allen Lazard snaps because, guys, like they got Brownlee 92 and then 50. Like Gibson's been getting more snaps as well for what it's worth. But I think we're going to see Allen Lazard a little bit more. Maybe we can get some sneaky good props on him. And we'll see. I mean, Zach Wilson clearly looked good last week. Granted, I don't think that's too shocking given the matchup with Houston. And I don't know, I've been saying it kind of all season. He has not been the problem. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't been the solution either. But the issues that the Jets offense has been having definitely goes deeper than that. And really, I think it stems from just not having that much depth offensively. You have 2 weapons, Garrett Wilson, who's pretty good, and then Breece Hall, who has been good as well. All in all, I kind of would love to see Zach Wilson in the Niners off. I think that'd be fast. Like, would he be Brock Purdy? Probably not, but I know a lot of people call Brock Purdy a system quarterback and whatnot. It's a fascinating thought that I have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not selling Brock Purdy short. He's been awesome for me this season in like best balls and season-long drafts where there's 2 quarterback leagues. Been very good there, so I don't want to sell him short. But that being said, yes, Zach Wilson had himself a great game. I do want to call out Tyler Conklin, 2.5 receptions is what the average sportsbook line has to set at. And because of that, Underdog bumped it up to 3 receptions. I do want to call it his snaps because he only played 56% of the snaps. They've been trying to give Jeremy Ruckert a lot more snaps, and we have seen that happen. 50% of the snaps last week. But if you guys have been following my channel this season, I've kind of been casually hyping up at least Tyler Conklin has a good DFS play considering his price tag each week. And it really has worked out for us. Like, it just hasn't gotten a price bump. Zach Wilson loves throwing him the football. So that's just what happened. And so I would say there's a great chance that he does get 3 receptions. I just hate the fact that he's only playing 50% of the snaps now, because if it was more than that, I would feel much more comfortable betting the over. I don't want to do Breece Hall receptions. I don't want to do Breece Hall rush yards either. Like, I just don't think that's worthwhile. I'm very curious as to Zach Wilson, like pass attempts, pass yards. Very appealing. And like, if we just look at the game log, we can see every single game basically this season he's been over or close to it. Kind of take off the first 3 weeks. Sounds weird to say, but New England, good defense, we know that. Dallas, very good defense, we know that. Buffalo, that was a weird situation. Now, KC, he got the over. Denver, he got the over. Philly got the over. Giants, he got the over. Chargers got the over. Las Vegas, he got the over. He got pulled in this game. I'm pretty sure that was an ugly game going against Buffalo. And then last week he got against Houston. So all in all, I would say 180 is just simply way too low of a line for his passing yards prop. I'd be fine to bet the over there for Zach. And guys, again, I don't think we want to be doing these demon ones at all. I think the just a mistake, but 199.5 for Zach Wilson pass yards, I think that's one you could roll with if you want to get more risky and get a better payout. I would say this is not terrible as well. Like, he looked good, but yeah, I don't want to mess around with these too much, but I did just want to bring that up because I do think that this line right here is probably 20 too low. And I would say this probably should be the line. So all in all, I do think the risk could be worth. Now, if you are doing that, you probably do need to look at Garrett Wilson for over receiving yards in some capacity. We can see PrizePicks has the line set at 60.5, whereas Underdog is going to have the line set at 57.5. So that's going to be a much better bet there. All in all, there, I don't mind it. I wish we were getting a better receptions prop for him, because we know Garrett Wilson is going to be targeted extremely heavily like he has been over the past really month. 14, 7, 10, 8, 14. And if we look at the games with Zach Wilson, that's going to be a better indication. It's like 5 straight games of over 10 targets. And I just see that continuing again. And so his receiving yards prop, I do like. You look at it against Miami, wasn't Zach Wilson, so we can't draw too many conclusions, but he still had a pretty darn good game. So I kind of expect him to have a good game. So now moving on to the next game, we got the Giants versus the Saints, a 6-point spread. Looking at the game total, it's about a 39 for the game total. And I mentioned in the Packers Monday night game, actually I kind of said it for both games, that I felt kind of like a trap game for the Packers. But really, I was really hyping up the fact that Saquon Barkley has on an offense, and Barkley looked good. So I never want to count off the Giants when Saquon Barkley is active, because he does really elevate an offense. And so with him healthy, that is definitely noteworthy. Really for the game, looking at the Saints, long line of injuries. So we got Chris Olave, who did not practice on Thursday. Got to see what his status is going to be. You don't know. Shaheed, limited participant in practice. I would say he is expected to be back. Taysom Hill, limited participant on Thursday. You would expect him to be back. And then I think we should go good to go running back wise, at least for Alvin Kamara. If Jamal Williams were to sit, that'd be a huge boost for Alvin Kamara. And Kendre Miller did not practice on Thursday. I don't think we're expecting him to play. So when we look at the snaps for them last week, it was kind of crazy. Like, Lynn Bowden played 70% of the snaps, which I was shocked by. I didn't see that coming. Foster Moreau played a bunch of snaps, mostly because Juwan Johnson has not been good. It's been annoying. A.T. Perry still played a lot of snaps, just not getting the targets for some reason. Maybe just not getting open, but yeah, they try to get the ball to Lynn Bowden. I would have thought that Alvin Kamara would have got a lot more snaps. He did not. Definitely concerning there. Like, they should have gotten more snaps. Now I know that they're kind of blowing out Carolina, and maybe that's why. But all in all, like, yeah, I would have still thought it would have been like 70% of the snaps. He's still going to be the one player for the Saints that gives me any sort of confidence, especially right now. I don't want to touch Derek Carr's props. I don't. And so Alvin Kamara rush yards 55.5. I would be fine betting the over there. I would, if this game's going to stay close, or if the Saints are going to be winning it. I do think he has a great chance to get this over. Again, you give him a few more carries. I'm fine with that. I think I'd rather roll. I don't know what I'd rather roll with, but all in all, I don't think we're getting that many good props for the Saints, and I don't think we're going to get that many good props for the Giants. Now, looking at the Giants rush attempts for Saquon Barkley at 16.5, I think I'd be fine betting the over. Like, if they keep this game close, which I'm not saying they're going to. They had a lot of mistakes. The Packers had more. That's why the Packers lost. Typical Packers frustrating loss, where it's just like, you can't make these dumb mistakes in the NFL. How do you keep doing that? But the Giants had a lot of the mistakes as well. Like, both teams cannot be doing that, because they're just such mind-numbing mistakes. Like, you wouldn't expect the Giants to continue to make those mistakes as well. So all in all, it's not too big of a blowout risk in this game. 6 points. And so I do think there's a great chance for Barkley to get over those rushing attempts. I don't love trusting it. And then I don't really love any of the other receiving props. You know, it was a Wendell Robinson game last week. We have seen that be fluky. Like, 2 weeks ago is Jalen Hyatt. I thought he was about to break out. That did not happen. Darius Slayton, you know, he can catch a long pass at any time, at any point. And so I just don't think we're getting that many good props for the Giants. So now moving on to the next game, we got the Bucs versus the Packers. The Bucs had to come from behind win last week. The Packers had a terrible loss. 3-point spread, 42 for the over and under. Looking at the injury report, Tampa Bay, they got Chris Godwin questionable. I think we're expecting him to play in this one. Looking at the Packers, they're still very banged up this season. A.J. Dillon, I think we're expecting him to play. Aaron Jones could be back as well. Jair Alexander probably going to be back. Christian Watson not looking like he's going to play. Quay Walker, if he's out, that should really help the Tampa Bay run game. Wicks got injured at the end of the game last week, which led to the awesome Malik Heath touchdown. They got depth, so all in all, you know, if Wicks is out and we're getting a good line on Malik Heath, by all means, let's go for it. Sucked that he got injured. Tucker Kraft continues to look good. Let's start with the Bucs. So looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I will say Rachaad White should have a good game. Like, he really should. The Packers have not been able to stop the run. You would think that, and even the pass, White should be able to get 3 receptions in this game. I want to see his rush yards, 76.5 and 79.5. Man, that's very high up there. But I don't know. It might not be high enough given how bad that Packers defense looked. Now, again, I think Quay Walker being back would help him be able to stop the run. But White's playing so many snaps and he's getting so many opportunities. Like, sure, maybe we do the rush attempts prop. But I don't know. I think rush yards would be fine here. Like, that'd be the prop that I would want to make for this team right now. All in all, it might be a little bit too thin, especially on underdog where it's 76.5. Like, that'd be a good line. Mike Evans, I don't think I want to touch. Like, the Packers DBs have been fine. Let's go and see what the Packers lines are. And Tucker Kraft. Whoops, sorry about the last slide there. Whoops, not bad. But looking at Tucker Kraft here, guys, like I've been hyping up Tucker Kraft a decent amount. We're only getting 2 prop bets right now because everyone else is so banged up for the Packers. Tough to say what's going to happen. But Tucker Kraft, we know is going to get snapped. As he should. He's looked good. I mean, we're getting him at 96, 95, and 100 snaps last week. I would almost argue that 3.5 receptions might be a little bit too low, but really the receiving yards prop is still too low, 34.5. He has proven that he's a good pass catching tight end. You get him against one of the worst pass defenses for opposing tight ends. Like, Tucker Kraft should be able to have a good game. Like, there's no way Matt LaFleur sees this matchup and doesn't take advantage of it. Looking at Jordan Love, you know, he didn't have his best stuff. We all saw that, but also the offense just was bad as a whole. Like, the whole team, just a bad game. You kind of write that game off, move on to next week. I would expect him to have a good game. And, you know, all in all, I probably would see over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I want to see what other props we give from Love as the week progresses. But they're not going to give us any other lines until we get news on Christian Watson, until we get news on Aaron Jones. All right, so moving on to the next game, we got the Bears versus the Browns, a 3-point spread, another low-scoring game at 38.5. The Bears are pretty healthy, guys. If you are wondering why they've been playing better, I would say that this is a big reason as to why. A lot of the NFL is which team's the healthiest, and it kind of comes down to that because the separation between starters is not too great. Now, if Brisker's out, I think that'd be a big loss for them. Gotta see on that. DJ Moore, we're expecting to play. Looking at the Browns, they are super banged up each and every week. Like, Jerome Ford, we're expecting to play. He's currently questionable. Not too worried about that. Same thing with Kareem Hunt. Questionable, we're expecting him to play, but we know they've been pretty banged up. I mean, they're starting Joe Flacco, who has looked good. So for what it's worth, guys, with the Chicago Bears, there's not really any prop bets that I like for them. I was looking at Justin Fields' pass attempts. This is about a 53% chance to hit. That's one of the better kind of EV bets that we have right now as it sits. I just don't like it. You look at how he threw the football. Like, you take away the 1 touchdown, which you easily could do. The touchdown came on a 4th down play where they were just trying to draw off to the Detroit fender off sides. And I would say 95% of the time, refs have blown that exact play dead. And so they were very lucky to have that play count. You could take away, like, I think it was like a 40-yard pass play, maybe 50-yard pass play. That's like 9 fantasy points away, but that's a lot of yards and a touchdown taken away. Now, he did look good rushing the football, don't get me wrong there, but I don't think throwing the football with Justin Fields is a good thing. I don't think they want to do that. That's not going to be winning football. So I don't know. I just don't want to touch the Bears, especially going against Cleveland. I think they're still a very good defense. And looking at Cleveland, guys, we're going to get one of my favorite prop bets on the week right now. It's going to be Marty Cooper for over 4.5 receptions. I just want to point out the snaps. So throughout this season, we've been seeing him play about 80% of the snaps. Was injured for 2 weeks, didn't play his full allotment of snaps, but then last week, he did play his full allotment of snaps, got 14 targets, 7 receptions. Awesome. Loved. So that to me is currently one of my favorite bets along with that Zeke prop bet. We go on to move on into the Falcons versus the Panthers. 3-point spread, another very low scoring game at about 34 points. It's kind of crazy how many bad games we have. That being said, we got a couple coming up that will be nice. Both teams are a little bit banged up. Both teams have been playing some ugly. We look at the snaps for the Atlanta Falcons. It's been very nice that they have been giving Bijan Robinson the desired snaps pretty much at around 75% of snaps. That is something that if it continues again, he should be able to go off against Carolina. Now, that being said, rush yards wise, they're probably going to, give us correct lines. 14.5 rush attempts probably is a little bit too low. 19.5 receiving yards probably a little bit too low. And then we're seeing receptions at 2.5. That also might be a little bit too low. And really, to me, one of the best prop bets that we are currently getting is going to be Bijan Robinson for over 2.5 receptions. So right now, I really like Zeke over receiving yards, 19.5. I like Amari Cooper over 4.5 receptions. And then Bijan Robinson over 2.5 receptions. That should be a smash spot. You could do receiving yards as well. I think both of those are going to be good prop. From there, Drake London, I think he does have a good chance to get 4 receptions. I don't want to touch the Hodge prop. That's weird that that's even out there. Desmond Ridder, I don't want to touch. Really, we're just looking at Robinson only. So getting to Carolina, guys, Mingo has basically not left the field a lot lately. Was not involved last week in the offense, which is kind of crazy. They are doing a lot of 3 receiver sets, a lot of 11 personnel. Chuba Hubbard played 77% of the snaps last week. That was pretty crazy. I did not see that coming. I thought it'd be 66 max. So my biggest question is that going to be something that continues? Is Chuba Hubbard going to play 60% or 70% of the snaps? Because if that happens, we're also getting some pretty good lines on Chuba Hubbard. And I mean, it's crazy, guys. Last 2 games, 23 and 25. Carries. It's kind of like they don't even care at this point. They're just trying to get these games over with. So at 15.5 rush attempts, that is definitely one that interests me. It's more bet on the snaps being there. And if that happens, yeah, I don't mind that. And like, I think both teams might just try to rush the football a bunch in this game, not let their quarterbacks throw. And so I think Bijan Robinson over receptions is a good one. I also think Chuba Hubbard over 15.5 rushing attempts is going to be a good one as well. And so now moving on to the afternoon games, we got a high scoring game against the Rams and Commanders. 6-point spread in favor of the Rams winning, 50 for the over and under. So there's projected to be a lot of points scored. I think that really just means how much of Kyren Williams should we be looking at. I do want to point out that, like, watching film, it's kind of clear that Cooper Kupp has definitely lost a step, it seems like, or he's definitely battling an injury, I should say. So there is some concern there. We are seeing that at 6 receptions, that's one that's basically being favored as a push for him. Now, Puka Nacua has been the receiver number 1, and I'm just surprised that we are getting that discrepancy in the line. And I'm actually curious, Kyren Williams rush yards, that's probably correct. Rush attempts, I don't know how correct the rush attempts prop is. I would say that should probably be at 20. Given the matchup with Washington, you would think that they'd be playing with the lead like Vegas thinks. And if they are, I think we're going to see Kyren Williams, just a ton of them, 20 carries in this one. I'm probably expecting that. All in all, that is a very high number to bet on. I don't know if we need to like go out of our way to do that. Receiving yards is probably the correct line, guys. He's been very effective on the ground. I would say if we were getting like a touchdown prop for him, I think that'd be the way to go. Again, I think Puka Nacua is going to be the more appealing of the 2 receivers. All in all, probably doesn't matter. But yeah, Puka Nacua receiving yards should be the higher of the 2 between him and Cooper Kupp. Maybe there's a little bit of name value here for Cooper Kupp. Now, he has best game against Baltimore, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of clear he's battling through something. And so I really like the edge that we are getting here with Puka Nacua when compared to Cooper Kupp. Like, there should not be that big of a spread. Looking at Washington, I don't think I really want to touch them too much. Now, I will say I kind of like the correlation that we might have between Sam Howell pass attempts at 37.5, especially in this game. That should be a very high scoring game, which should lead to a lot more pass attempts. And then you could also tack on Terry McLaurin for over his receptions as well at 4.5. I kind of expect him to get the football a lot, especially coming in after the last game where, he only had 3 targets. That was clearly a mistake. They need to correct. I would say that this could be the correction game then, where he just gets peppered with, let's say, 11 targets. Now, Sam Howell has been so hit or miss. He's been Blake Bortles, tough to trust. All in all, I don't know if we want to go in on a lot of the Commanders players. Like, if we were, I would say we want to go all in, really bet on that game being a high scoring game. So with that, I think it's safe to move on to the next game. Again, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua for the Rams. Those are my favorite ones. We get into this next game. We got the Cowboys versus the Bills, 2-point spread, another very high scoring game. It's kind of an exciting game. Like, 2 of the better quarterbacks in the league. You got the MVP favorite in Dak Prescott. And then you got Josh Allen, who's been playing better recently. Now, Dalton Kincaid battling an injury. If he's out, it's just going to be Dawson Knox, and then Khalil Shakir is going to be a good play as well. It's kind of weird. We saw Khalil Shakir's role really step up when Dawson Knox was out, and literally instantly when Dawson Knox came back, we kind of see him instantly fall back into that same role that he was playing in prior. And so if Kincaid is out, then I think we're instantly going to see Shakir play his normal role again. And if they're playing from behind, maybe this game is a little bit more of a shootout. Maybe he does get more snaps. Let's start with Buffalo. The nice thing that Buffalo has been able to do is actually get James Cook a lot of work, and James Cook has looked good doing it. We see that receptions prop at 3 for James Cook. I would say that that'd be one I'd be fine betting the over. Now, Dallas has been really good at stopping opposing running backs, but all in all, I mean, I think James Cook, if like this one has a great chance to be a push. So I do like the 3 receptions there. there. Josh Allen, I don't want to touch. I don't want to touch the rush attempts. Diggs under 6 receptions. I think that one has a good chance to be a push. All in all, it's weird. Like, my favorite one would be Khalil Shakir if we knew that Dalton Kincaid was it. He was a limited participant on Thursday, wore a non-contact jersey on Wednesday, so it's really tough to say. I would probably say he's more likely to play, but yeah, we saw Shakir's role really get reduced, so all in all, probably don't want to be touching that. Let's move on to Dallas. So yeah, looking at Dallas, I do kind of expect Dak to continue to play well. How that comes, that's going to be up for you guys to decide. Like, CeeDee Lamb going for 89.5 receiving yards. Like, if you guys want to bet on that, you could. It's got a little bit better of a line on PrizePicks at 87.5. Pass yards for Dak, I don't know if we need a touch. Jake Ferguson, I kind of expect to continue to have good games, I should say. But really with Dallas, like, receiving wise, like, sure, like CeeDee Lamb's line that we're getting at 87.5 does seem to be nice. Cooks is someone that, you know, we kind of expect to either have him have a good game or have it be Jake Ferguson have a good game. I like betting Jake Ferguson having a good game more than I do Brendan Cooks, and so that'd be the route that I would. All right, now moving on to the last game here, we got the Seahawks versus the Eagles. 3-point spread, which was a little bit surprising to me. 47.5. I would have thought the Eagles would have been heavily favored by more than that, so interesting there. Looking at the biggest question mark is Geno Smith. Is he going to be back? Suffered a weird injury during the week last week. Drew Lock actually played pretty well, so maybe not a big drop off for the pass catchers. All in all, I probably would say that there would be a big drop. Looking at Seattle right now, we're not getting a lot of props for them. I do really like the snaps that they have been getting for really their starters. Noah Fant getting 60+% of the snaps lately. I like to see that. Kenneth Walker played about 60% of the snaps. The player that I've been hyping up a bunch during the middle of the season when people were trying to go Zach Charbonnet there, and I just didn't love it. Jackson Smith playing 70% of the snaps is definitely interesting, especially in this matchup with the Eagles. Like, you expect them to be pass heavy, and so like if you want to run a little bit of a slight stack with these two, I'd be fine with it. And then Philly, guys, I don't really want to get into Philly too much till Monday night, so we'll see. And I did realize I skipped over one game, so let's get back into that. We got the Niners versus the Cardinals, a game that has the potential to be a blowout. I'll just take a quick peek. With the Niners, for me, that's going to be very difficult to figure out what we should do. With it being that big of a blowout, that does concern me. I would say the best bet that we're going to get in this game would be Trey McBride for over his receiving yards. We can see the prop line is set at 5.5 receptions. If that hits, I think the over receiving yards would make a lot of sense then. I will say the rest of the prop bets that we're getting in this game probably a little bit too thin. If they're going to keep it close, it's going to be because James Conner has a good game. So like rush yards, I could see him having a good rushing game, but all in all, I don't know if I really want to touch. So now let's just take a peek at all the best prop bets that we're getting on Underdog right now for the week. And so you guys can, you know, make whichever prop bets you want based off of this. It's going to be up to you guys. Again, I kind of mentioned a few of the ones that I like. I'm going to show you guys prize picks real quick as well. I'll give you guys a bet of the day. Not getting like too many great ones. I have to use this slider here, guys, because of the demons and goblins that they're doing. I have to jump it down to about 55% so we can only get the true ones. Now we get a better indication of which prop bets we are getting, maybe the prop bets that we'd want to go in on. We're getting some, not a lot. So I think for now it's going to be just Underdog, which prop bets I like. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Again, I just think these are the 4 best ones that we are currently getting. Maybe don't love Chuba Hubbard as much. That seems way too risky in terms of talent versus how much he's actually playing. I don't love the talent there. I know a lot of Panthers fans might disagree, but he has been getting a healthy workload the last 2 weeks. All in all, probably expect that to continue. One of the best EV bets that we currently have is going to be Bijan Robinson for over 2.5 receptions. I am perfectly fine just betting that. I think Zeke, if he's going to be playing as much as we expect, this line is simply too low. Cooper going against the Bears, that's a pretty good matchup with Joe Flacco there, with him playing 80% of the snaps. That's my favorite. If I had to do a 3-slip bet, it'd be that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let's have a good slate. If you guys want access to the 95sports.com PrizePicks and Underdog cheat sheet, click the link in the description below. Available for just $10 a month. Give a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.